Hey, welcome. Have you ever felt that little bit of tension between your faith and the questions you have about it? You know, that feeling like you're just supposed to believe, no questions asked? Well, today we're going to dive into why asking those really tough questions isn't just okay. It might actually be the key to a stronger, deeper faith. So let's start with the classic perspective, one that's been around for a long time. This quote from Rabbi Menachem Mendel in the 19th century sums it up perfectly. It kind of paints this black and white picture, right? It sets up two totally separate camps. You've got the world of faith, where questions supposedly don't even exist, and the world of unbelief, where answers are just impossible to find. It's this very clear-cut idea that you're either all in, no questions, or you're out. But, does that really feel true to life? The writer Harold Schulweis noticed something different. Something I bet a lot of us have felt. He saw that our actual experience is so much more complicated. The reality is, tons of believers have really deep, profound doubts. And at the same time, lots of people who wouldn't call themselves believers are still searching, really desperately, for answers. The truth is, our spiritual lives are way messier than that old, rigid view would have us believe.
And this kind of leads us to something a lot of people run into in their faith communities, this unspoken culture where it just feels safer to be quiet than to be curious. So let's just put it out there. Is it actually wrong to have doubts? Is that little feeling of, I'm not so sure, some kind of spiritual failure? I mean, for so many people, this is a really personal, nagging question.
And that question hits so hard because in so many places, when someone puts their hand up with a tough why or how could this be, it's not seen as someone trying to connect. It's seen as a problem, like your faith just isn't strong enough. And that creates this environment where people feel like they have to just shove their real questions into a closet. And sometimes scripture itself gets pulled in to back this up. The whole story of doubting Thomas is the go-to example, right? Jesus' words to him are often used as this warning against questioning itself. And the lesson people take away is, real faith doesn't need proof. It just believes, period. Okay, but what if that whole interpretation is missing a massive piece of the puzzle? What if questioning isn't some modern weakness, but actually part of a much older, much richer tradition inside faith itself? And here's the twist. This whole idea of questioning faith isn't some new attack on belief. It's actually a powerful and ancient tradition within faith. In fact, if you look closely, some of the most important figures in Scripture were also the biggest questioners. I mean, just listen to this. This is a raw cry from King David in the Psalms. This is not some polite philosophical question. This is a gut punch of a cry aimed straight at God from one of the greatest heroes of the faith. He's asking the ultimate question of abandonment. And then, fast forward hundreds of years, and who says those exact same words from the cross? Jesus. The cornerstone of the Christian faith himself, in his absolute darkest moment, doesn't offer a statement of certainty. He voices a deep, painful question that echoes right from the heart of his own tradition. So what does that even mean for us? Well, if figures like David and even Jesus could voice questions like that, then maybe questioning isn't a bug in the system. Maybe it's a feature. Maybe it's a real, authentic part of the whole journey. And that just changes the whole game, doesn't it? We can stop worrying about whether we're allowed to ask questions and start thinking about why we ask them. What is their purpose? There's this amazing concept from a theologian named Anselm. He called it faith-seeking understanding. And the idea is just brilliant. He said faith isn't a blind leap in the dark. It's the starting block. It's the firm ground you stand on so that you can courageously explore and ask and really begin to get the depths of what you believe. And what that does is create this incredible positive loop. It all starts with a real, honest question. That curiosity then pushes you to actually seek out answers, maybe in scripture or in conversations with people you trust, or just in quiet thought. As you do that, you start to get it. You understand more deeply. And the end result? Your faith isn't weaker. It's stronger. It's more mature. This quote just nails it. It's all about being real. An honest question, even if it comes from a place of doubt, is so much more valuable than a faith that's just for show. Being true to your questions is part of being true in your search for God. Okay, but there's one last really important piece to all of this. The whole point of questioning isn't necessarily to get a neat and tidy answer for everything. Yeah, it's so important to get this. The journey of questioning isn't like a treasure hunt where the prize is a simple answer. It doesn't always wrap up with a perfect solution. Sometimes the real destination of the journey is learning to have a healthy respect for mystery. And why is that? Well, for one, we're human. Our brains are limited. The scriptures are pretty clear that God's ways aren't always our ways. The Apostle Paul said it so well. It's like we're looking through a foggy mirror right now. And being okay with that, being humble enough to say, I don't know it all, that's not weakness. That is a sign of a really mature, healthy faith.
When you get right down to it, to question is to be awake. It means you're engaged, you're thinking, you're actively in this relationship. It isn't a sign that you're drifting away, it's the very mark of a vibrant, living faith. So, that leaves one last thought for you, a little challenge. After all this, what's that one question, the one you've kind of kept on a shelf, maybe been a little afraid of? What's the question you're going to be brave enough to ask today?